Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out The Fall of the House of X issue 2 by Gerry Duggan and Lucas Werneck. Polaris's attack on the Bloom gets well underway as the mutant walks right through all of Fortress's mutant defenses with her Brood army to link up with Wolverine, Colossus and Nightcrawler, who have also been taken up to the station for interrogation. Duggan seamlessly connects both of these storylines really well and couches them in an overall mutant plan to free Cyclops from the prison and launch a worldwide attack on Orchis, which was set up in the last issue. Lots of the issue was just satisfying action sequences of Orchis getting what's coming to them by the mutants, from Wolverine allowed to go ham on a group of soldiers in a ship to Emma using two as her own personal pets as she coordinates everything down on the ground. While Polaris and the X-Men manage to take down the Bloom and crash it into Earth with Knowhere, MODOK and Dr. Stasis manage to escape to fight another day, leaving the rest of the book to briefly touch on Krakoa being rescued by the gun-wielding Juggernaut, a storyline which I kind of thought was going to go in a different direction, being that, Krakoa is the island, it's, where these mutants live, so I would have thought it would have been dragged out, well not really dragged out, but more so played out a little bit longer than it being captured in that first issue, and now it's kind of totally fine. It's been freed by Juggernaut and is on the run. It's a little weird that that storyline got kind of solved in what is essentially just a couple of pages. After dealing with that plot point, Gerry turns things over to Rogue and Gambit, who are on this mission as well to resist against Orchis, but kind of go off mission to enact their own mission, which is to free Manifold. Like this book's sister series, The Rise of the Powers of X by Kieran Gillen, Gerry is tying down his and other writers' long-running plot points, and in this case, the events of Stephanie Phillips's Rogue and Gambit book, which saw Manifold kidnapped and mind-controlled by Eden. So he was put into stasis to prevent the future crisis that Destiny saw, which is later revealed to be the Fall of X. Duggan does put a lot of importance on Manifold making a comeback here, and even brings back his often forgotten about sibling Lactuca, who is used as kind of a herald of sorts that reveals Manifold's destiny was changed now that he was put in stasis, and now he will help stop the Fall of X. I absolutely love that the character like Manifold is getting a spotlight here and being put in such a prime position in this era of Krakoa, this ending era. He's being, sort of propped up as this guy who's going to help solve this problem. But it also feels like it was at the detriment of that Rogue and Gambit story. Like, Manifold was mind controlled to bring about the Fall of X and sealed away to stop it at the end of that series, which didn't end all that too long ago. It was just, 2 or 3 months ago that that series actually end. It feels like it's a little bit too quickly that now he's saving the world, his destiny has changed, he's back, and things are kind of back to normal with him. He's now a hero again. It just seems like it was happening a little too quickly, and that's probably due to the Krakoa era coming to an end, and this is the writers sort of scrambling to sort of tie up all these loose ends or trying to sort of sand down the edges so they can be waved away a little later on. I totally understand that. It just seems really quick of a turnaround of a story like this. After Manifold's return, the book leaves off on probably the bit more of an obvious cliffhanger, which is Dr. Gregor turning on Omega Sentinel, and while she doesn't free Cyclops, she asks him about Sentinel City and things to do with Omega Sentinel and Nimrod, the being who at one point was her husband. And as I said in my review of the last issue, there's this great sort of jealousy between Gregor and Omega, being that Omega and Nimrod are kind of getting a bit chummy together, and Gregor, who is still a human, is seen as sort of like a side character to them, or doesn't really concern them because they're beyond humans, and she's a little bit jealous of that, a little bit jealous that her husband has moved on, or what was once her husband has moved on. And I like that she has turned to help Cyclops, and hopefully this also means Cyclops is going to be in the book a little bit more, since this entire series was kind of built on the fact that they were going to free Cyclops and get him out of jail, and so far that hasn't actually happened, and we haven't really even seen Cyclops all of that much over these last 2 issues. The Fall of the House of X continues to be a pretty strong event series that with each new issue moves its plots forward nicely or wraps up some pre-existing Krakoa era stories, tying them together pretty well. And while this issue had some minor missteps like doing the Manifold stuff a little bit too early for my taste, it is still a fantastic series filled with drama, action and intrigue. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.